Hey everyone, I'm Devin, back with another Board Game Co. preview, and if you can notice, I'm not in my usual studio or Alex's studio. I'm in a little bit of limbo right now, but I thought I could still bring you guys some interesting conversations about a new game. This is Cursed Goblins. This is an upcoming game, and let me start with a few disclaimers. The regular disclaimers that this is a prototype, this is not a final copy of the game, so some things are subject to change. And then also, this is a paid preview, so this is not a comprehensive, unbiased review. This is a look at a game that we have been sponsored by the publisher. We're going to go ahead and take a look at Cursed Goblins, which I had quite a good time with, actually. All right. In Cursed Goblins, it is a competitive game for 2 to 5 players. You don't know your own hand, though. You only know the hand of the other players around the table. And based on the player count, that will determine how many of these sets and how many of these chicken cards are in your deck. So with a 3-player setup, we have 4 of the 5 sets. And this particular set I've taken out, which I've also flipped face up to where you can kind of see the composition of a set. And I've also removed the extra chicken cards that are unneeded in a 3-player setup. In a set of goblins, you have 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, and then this X. This X counts as a wild. It can start off a set at 1, it can be the middle of a set at 2, or it can count as the end of a set at 3. It just depends on where you're at. What you're doing in this game is you are Dark Lords that are trying to curse the minions of the other Dark Lords around the table and make sure that they succumb to a certain amount of damage before you. At a 2 and 3 player count, you're going to have 10 hit points. And at a 4 and 5 player count, you're going to have 8 hit points. And the goal is to stack up enough cards legally in the correct order on other opponents' play areas to that damage threshold, whether it's 8 or whether it's 10. So for example, this opponent right here has a purple goblin at a value of 1, and then they unfortunately also have a cleric chicken at a value of -1, which means they're at 0 right now. They haven't taken any damage cumulatively. This poor unfortunate soul over here has 1, 2, and 3 points of damage because they have a complete green set. And then they also have this chicken here. So this particular player is actually at 7 points of damage, which is very close to the final 10 that you need to do them off, so to say. And then in front of me, I have a 1 and a 2. Remember, this X, no matter where it's at, counts as either a 1, 2, or 3. So I have an incomplete set of blue here that's still doing 3 damage. And then I have what's known as a clairvoyant chicken, which is what allows me to have looked at my hand. So if I was to show you my hand here, a clairvoyant chicken only allows you to look at one hand, mind you. The entire point of this game is you're trying to slowly divine what's in your hand and also give as inefficient but true clues as possible to your opponents based off what you have. So right here, I could tell you that based off of previous information, I know that these are purples. And I know that these are 2s. And I know that these are chickens. That's the only information I have. I know that these are purple, that these are 2s, and that these are chickens. I don't know what types of chickens these are. They could be 1s, they could be 0s, they could be -1s. I do not know what type of 2 this is, what color it is. All I know is its value, and then I know that these are purple, but because of the overlap of the 2 information and the purple information, I do know that this should be a purple 2, which means there is definitely a valid place to play it. The way that turn order goes is on your turn, you have the option to play as many cards as you want, one at a time. And then, if they are played successfully, you can continue. And you choose to stop whenever you want. And if you have played only cards successfully, then you can discard as many as you want from your hand and draw back up. And then you give a player to the left or your right a clue about their hand, which is how people start to gradually understand what they're holding. So if I was to play this card here, which I believe is a purple 2 based off all the information I have, and it is, I could play that here. And since they were originally at 0 damage from the 1 and the -1, they're now at 2, which is a good place to get them at. I need to start stacking up some damage because this opponent's almost dead and this opponent has barely got anything going on. And now, what used to be right here was a purple 2. I still know that this is purple, but I don't know what value it is. And then I know that this is a 2, but I don't know what color it is. And it doesn't really matter what color it is, because over here they have a full set of green, which means they can't have any more green cards played on them. And a 2 would be erroneously played because there is no 1 for it to go on top of. You have to play in order. And over here I just played a purple 2, so whether this is purple or not, it doesn't matter because they've already got a purple 2 here and they've got no other colors. So this 2 is not legal to be played anywhere. Chickens only have 1s. There's not sets of chickens. There's just chickens that do 1 damage. And then this is a purple, and I don't know if it's a 1 or a 3. If it's a 3, I could do a lot of damage here. If it's a 1, I could start off with some damage here. But I kind of like the idea of risking it, and maybe hopefully that one of these chickens is doing some extra damage. It is more rare in the deck to have these 0 clairvoyant chickens or these -1 cleric chickens. It's more frequent to have 1 chickens that do a damage. So I'm going to hope against hope that this is a 1, and it is, which means I'm going to put this over here, and that's an additional damage that this player has. Now I could keep risking it, or I could stop. And I think I'm going to stop. And at this point, I'll be able to draw back up to 5 at the end of my turn. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to talk to the other players, and I'm going to give them clues based off their hand. So this player has 5 cards. Maybe I see that they've got 2 yellows, 2 greens, and a chicken. So I can give a clue. You can give either positive or negative information as long as it's true and as long as it provides at least a small amount of new information. It can't be something that they already knew. So I see that this player has 2 yellows and 2 greens and a chicken, and I say, none of your cards are red. And maybe they knew some of the number values already, but now they know none of them are red. So maybe there were some 1s there, and they're like, oh, that's not a red 1. That's good to know. It gives them information, even though it's not the best information for them because I'm not telling them exactly what 1 or more cards are. I'm giving them new information that they haven't had. And so that's what you'll do in this game, is you'll play on your turn, and you'll slowly disseminate information. Now what I could do is I could keep playing, though, if we were trying to tell you and show you what it means whenever you don't play successfully. I've played successfully twice. I've played a chicken and this purple 2. Maybe I hope this is a purple 3. Because if this is a purple 3, it really, ratchets up their damage. Because they're currently at 3, and that would jump them all the way up to 6, which puts them a lot closer to this teammate. So I'm going to play that card. It's only a purple 1, though, and they already have a purple set, which means this is a failed card. It's going to go into the discard pile, and then I'll stop my turn, because as soon as you play 1 card incorrectly, you stop your turn. So I'm going to draw back up to 5. Now keep in mind, I don't know what these cards are, and I need to remember where this information was. I'm pretty sure this is a chicken, and I'm pretty sure this is a 2. The only thing I don't know is what color it is. So a chicken and a 2, and then 3 completely new pieces of information, and then it goes around to the next player. As soon as one player is the last one left alive, they win the game. And anytime you kill a player, you're able to choose 1 card in your own play area and take it away. So for example, if this player over here was able to finish off either me or the other opponent, they could choose to take off this 3 card, which would be huge because that's a ton of damage. So it's very effective sometimes to deliver the killing blow to the cursed goblins of another Dark Lord in order to kind of heal yourself a little bit. The combination of the different sets that are available, the different colors, the combination of the wild X and the necessary placement of 1, 2, and 3 in order, the different chickens that both deal damage and heal damage and can even allow you to gain information based off of a card in your hand. All of that plays into a really fun decision space as a player. And if you're familiar with games like Hanabi, where you're trying to give information about someone's hand, but you don't know anything about your own, this is a unique aspect because Hanabi plays cooperatively, and I haven't really seen many other games do mechanically what Hanabi and this game do, but this sets it up for a competitive play space, and you're really trying to defeat other people, and at times you have this conversational point where you're like, hey, I know I'm almost dead, but if you kill me now, you leave yourself with a lot of damage, and the other player, they're just going to kill you off very quickly. You really probably need to even up the damage sooner rather than later. And it creates these swingy, exciting moments where there were a couple games when we played where we had one player who was doing so much better. And in the course of just a couple people's turns, we were able to give them 5 or 6 damage all in one go and really kind of change the narrative of how everybody was against each other. And it also adjusts as you get later in the game. You become much more mean in how you're giving information to other players because you want them to punish and hurt other players. So you might, at the beginning of the game, give very loose or impartial information that helps them but doesn't really give them a lot to go on. And then towards the end of the game, if this player has a 1 and a 2 green and you know that this player over here has a 3 green in their hand, you might very obviously say, this is a 3. And maybe they don't know the color, but the fact that you're telling them this is a 3 at this point in the game usually means that they could do something about it. And they'll have to decide, are they trying to mess me up and not want me to play this 3 on them? Are they wanting me to think that it's this player? And you really kind of have some fun decisions into where you're trying to determine your information is coming from in terms of the other players at the table. It creates a fun decision place. It's very simple. It's very easy to grasp, but it does play quite quickly and is a good amount of fun. So this is Cursed Goblins from Goblin Box Games. It is going to be live on Kickstarter, and you can check it out. We've got the information in the video description for you to look at. And if you have any questions, let us know. And I appreciate you sticking by for another Board Game Co. preview. I'll see you guys next time.